There is a specific kind of tired that has nothing to do with sleep. You feel it in your bones. Your mind is constantly racing. The weight is always there. And every morning when you wake up, the heaviness is already sitting on your chest before you even open your eyes. You push through. You wear the mask. But inside, you know something is broken. You work hard. You put in the hours. You read the books. And you commit to building a better life while the rest of the world wastes their time. You do everything they tell you to do. You set the goals. You visualize the future. But the breakthrough you were promised never seems to arrive. It feels as though you are driving a fast car with the emergency brake pulled tight. You are moving, but every inch is a struggle. Important note: before we begin, this is timeless wisdom. Read the description below this video to aid you in achieving the optimum results. Society looks at you and tells you to just work harder. They say you lack discipline. They say you are not hungry enough. And because you are a man of honor, you believe them, and you blame yourself for every single failure. You think you are weak. You think you are broken. You assume you are just not meant to be great. I am here to tell you a different truth, a truth that will set you free. Stop what you are doing and listen to me. Truly listen, because this is the most important sentence you will hear today. You do not have a motivation problem. You do not lack ambition. Your heart is strong. Your desire to provide and protect is absolute. But you are fighting an invisible enemy that you cannot punch. You are fighting your own programming. Deep within the architecture of your mind, there is an outdated script running on a loop. This script was installed long ago. It was built by your past failures and the fears of other people. Your subconscious is a tireless contractor. And right now it is quietly sabotaging every conscious step you take toward wealth and peace. It builds invisible walls. It creates imaginary threats. It forces you to drift when you should be conquering. Think about your daily life. You wake up with a plan. You have a clear vision of what needs to be done. But by noon, your energy is completely gone. A strange brain fog takes over. You find yourself distracted by meaningless things. You stare at the screen. You feel a sudden wave of anxiety. And while your conscious mind screams at you to focus, your body refuses to move. This is the script in action. The ancient philosophers understood this battle perfectly. Marcus Aurelius faced the exact same internal war. He ruled an empire and commanded legions. But he knew that the hardest enemy to conquer was the silent voice inside his own head. That voice tells you to stay safe. It tells you to avoid the risk. It whispers that you are an imposter. It demands comfort when you need discipline. We call this state of being the drift. The drifter is a man who lets his subconscious fears dictate his reality. He reacts to the world. He waits for things to happen. He blames the economy. He blames his boss. But you are not meant to be a drifter. You are meant to be a creator. You are meant to be the sovereign commander of your fate. But a commander cannot rule if his own guards are working against him. The men who win are not luckier than you. They do not have better genes. They simply have a different subconscious operating system. Their internal software is programmed for victory. When they encounter a problem, their mind automatically searches for a solution. When you encounter the same problem, your mind automatically triggers fear. This is not a character flaw. This is purely a mechanical error. And this error does not just break your mind. It breaks your physical body. Your nervous system is constantly bathed in stress hormones. Your cortisol levels are always high because your brain thinks you are constantly under attack from invisible threats. This is why your back aches. This is why your digestion is ruined. This is why sleep brings you no rest. Your physical exhaustion is simply the symptom of a mental war. This cycle has to end. You cannot survive another year living like this. The drift will eventually consume you entirely if you do not take action. But the action required is not physical labor. You do not need to work longer hours. You do not need another side hustle. You need a mental revolution. You need to locate the corrupted files in your brain and delete them without mercy. How do we fix this broken system? We must bypass the conscious mind entirely. Your conscious mind is the gatekeeper. It is logical. It is rational. but it only controls 5% of your life. The rest is ruled by the deep subconscious. To change your life, we must slip past the guards and rewrite the code in the dark. We must use the principles of the ancients to force a new reality. The universe works by law. It does not work by luck. It does not work by accident. The law states that your outer world is a direct reflection of your inner programming. If you are programmed for scarcity, you will always lose money. If you are programmed for fear, you will destroy a peaceful relationship just to feel normal. You do not get what you want in this life. You attract what you are. Every excuse you have ever made was a lie. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a victim of your own unregulated thoughts. I know this sounds harsh. I know it offends the ego. But I am not here to make you comfortable. I am here to wake you up. Comfort is the poison that keeps the drifter asleep. Truth is the sword that cuts the chains. You must choose the truth. Today is the day the drift ends. By the end of this lesson, you will understand exactly how this mechanism works. You will discover the specific mental routines that the Stoic masters use to control their reality, and you will learn how to apply them tonight before you go to sleep. I will show you how to rebuild your mind. I will show you how to heal your body, and I will help you reclaim your heart. But I must warn you, this knowledge is not for everyone. The masses will reject it. The weak will call it nonsense, because taking absolute responsibility for your own mind is terrifying. It means you can no longer blame anyone else. It means the power was in your hands all along. If you are not ready for that level of power, leave now. But if you are ready to become the creator, stay with me. There are exactly two types of men in this world. You see them every day. You work alongside them. But despite walking the same streets, they live in completely different realities. The first man is the drifter. The second man is the creator. And the only thing that separates them is their relationship with their own mind. Let us make this plain. The drifter walks through life completely unprotected. He leaves the doors of his mind wide open to the public. He wakes up and immediately checks the news, allowing the anger of strangers to dictate his mood for the entire day. He consumes chaos and wonders why his life feels chaotic. The creator operates under a completely different law. He is the mental gatekeeper. He treats his mind as a sacred fortress. He knows that every single thought is a seed planted in the soil of his subconscious, and because he is the sovereign commander of his fate, he refuses to plant seeds of doubt. This is not a modern concept. The Stoic masters understood this law 2,000 years ago. They built empires and survived brutal wars using this exact framework. The foundation of their power was incredibly simple but demanding, because they knew that while you cannot control the external world, you can always control your internal response. The drifter completely misunderstands this law. He spends his entire life trying to control things outside of his reach. He worries about the economy. He stresses over the opinions of his neighbors. And when the external world inevitably disappoints him, he completely falls apart and blames the universe for his own weakness. Listen to me carefully. The universe does not care about your complaints. The universe works by strict law. It operates on the frequency of your dominant thoughts, meaning if you constantly think about your debts, you will only attract more lack. The drifter focuses on what he fears, and his subconscious builds exactly what he focuses on. Now, look at the architect of destiny. The creator accepts the chaos of the world with cold calmness. If he loses his wealth, he does not panic. He views failure as mere data because he knows his true wealth is not in the bank, but in the disciplined machinery of his own mind. The Stoic mind acts as a filter. When a negative event happens, the drifter reacts immediately with intense emotion, but the creator places a pause between the event and his reaction. In that brief moment of silence, he exercises his absolute power by deciding exactly what the event means and choosing his calculated response. This is the hidden law of the 1%. They do not have fewer problems than you. They simply refuse to let problems corrupt their internal software. You must understand that your thoughts are not harmless clouds floating in your head, because they are actual physical commands that send electrical signals down your spine. When the drifter thinks a fearful thought, his brain releases stress chemicals. His heart rate increases. His breathing becomes shallow. He physically poisons his own body with his unregulated mind, living in a constant state of survival. This is why the drifter is always exhausted. His mind is eating his body alive. The builder does the exact opposite. He uses his mind to heal and strengthen his physical form. He demands order from his thoughts. When fear tries to enter his fortress, he stops it at the gate and immediately replaces it with a clear vision of his definite chief aim. He forces his body into a state of power. You must realize that drifting is the ultimate enemy. A wrong decision is always better than no decision. The drifter hesitates. He waits for the perfect moment, hoping that someone else will come and save him from his miserable circumstances. But the Creator initiates action. He moves forward even when he is afraid. He dictates reality through sheer force of will. Think about the concept of the invisible season. The farmer plants a seed in the dark soil. For weeks, he sees absolutely nothing happening on the surface. The drifter would panic and dig up the seed to check on it, ruining the entire process because he lacks faith and demands immediate visible results. But the Creator understands the law of the harvest. He waters the soil every single day. He acts independently of motivation. He trusts the invisible process because he knows the law is absolute, and he understands that the thoughts you plant today will become your inescapable reality tomorrow. This brings us to a terrifying truth. You are exactly where you are today because of the thoughts you tolerated yesterday. If your life is falling apart, it is because you allowed it. You left the gates unguarded and allowed fear and doubt to set up a camp in your mind. You surrendered your throne. But the opposite is also incredibly true. If you take control of the gates right now, your entire future changes. You can rewrite the code today. You can evict the fears. You can establish new strict laws in your mental kingdom. And the moment you decide to become the gatekeeper, the universe aligns with your new frequency. The Stoic philosophers called this the inner citadel. It is a place inside you that nothing can touch. The economy cannot crash it. People cannot insult it. Disease cannot break it. But you have to build it brick by brick. And you construct this fortress through the relentless discipline of your daily thoughts. Every time you catch yourself complaining, you must stop. You must reject the thought of the drifter. Every time you feel jealous of another man, you must kill the thought immediately. Jealousy is the poison of the consumer, while the Creator simply observes the success of others and extracts the valuable lesson. Do not let your emotions drag you through the mud. Emotions are meant to be tools. They are not meant to be your master. When anger arises, you must channel it into productive energy, and when sadness hits, you must use it to deepen your iron resolve. You command the emotion. The emotion does not command you. You now know the mechanism. The difference between the two men is not luck or talent. It is pure mental discipline. The drifter will hear this law and do absolutely nothing, returning slowly to his endless distractions. But the master will use it tonight. He will begin building his fortress. Which one are you? Let us look closely to the example of Seneca. He was one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in Rome. But his daily life was not an easy one. He suffered from severe asthma and constant physical illness, and eventually he was exiled to a barren island with absolutely nothing, stripped of his wealth and his high status. How did a sick man in such exile survive? It was not by pure luck or random chance. He used a specific mental protocol that you can easily replicate tonight. He understood that his body was weak and his circumstances were terrible, but he refused to let the external environment infect his mind. He became the sovereign commander of his internal state. Seneca realized a profound and unshakable truth. Your physical body is merely a servant to your mental commands. If you tell your mind you are dying, your body will rapidly deteriorate. But if you command your mind to endure, your vessel will miraculously find the necessary strength. He used his disciplined thoughts to literally keep his failing heart beating. This is not just ancient philosophy for old books. That is an absolute and unbreakable law. It is exactly like the law of gravity. Modern neuroscience has finally caught up to what the Stoic masters knew 2,000 years ago. We now clearly understand the physical mechanism behind this immense power. Inside your brainstem sits a network of neurons called the reticular activating system. This system is the ultimate gatekeeper of your reality. Millions of pieces of information hit your physical senses every single second, and your brain would explode if it tried to process all of them at once. So your reticular activating system filters the world based on the instructions you give it. It only shows you what you tell it to look for. When the drifter constantly worries about his daily failures, he programs this system with deep fear. His brain then physically blocks out all opportunities and only shows him incoming threats. He is literally blinding his own eyes to wealth and peace. But the Creator programs his system with a definite chief aim. He commands his brain to seek out total victory. Once the Creator sets this new command, the physical changes begin. The brain stops pumping toxic stress hormones into the bloodstream. The constant physical exhaustion starts to slowly fade away. Your tense shoulders finally drop. Your breathing becomes much deeper. Your body stops fighting invisible wars and starts directing all its energy toward building your empire. Let us examine another piece of historical evidence. Look at the difficult life of Marcus Aurelius. He was the emperor of the most powerful civilization on earth. He spent many brutal years commanding his legions on the freezing frontiers. He was constantly surrounded by deadly plague and political betrayal, yet he never lost his sanity or let his heart grow bitter. He survived those brutal conditions by writing his thoughts down in the dark. He performed daily cosmic housekeeping. He ruthlessly cut out every negative thought that tried to enter his mind, because he knew that a corrupted mind would destroy his physical health and his ability to lead. He protected his vital energy at all costs. Now take a moment to think about your own body. Why are you always tired during the day? Why does your chest constantly feel incredibly tight? It is not because you are working too many hours. It is because your amygdala has been hijacked. This structure is the fear center of your brain. When you lack mental discipline, your amygdala forces your heart to panic. You are running a marathon in your mind while sitting perfectly still at your desk. No wonder your physical frame is completely exhausted. If someone insults his fragile ego, his blood pressure immediately spikes. If he loses a minor client, his stomach drops in absolute fear. The drifter allows his heart to be controlled by random external events, and he remains a helpless biological slave to his unpredictable outer environment. But you are meant to be the architect of your destiny. You must deeply understand the science of neuroplasticity. This modern science proves that every single time you choose a disciplined thought, you literally grow new neural pathways. You are physically changing the shape of your brain simply by choosing to reject fear and focus entirely on your power. The more you practice this cold calmness, the stronger these physical pathways become over time. Eventually, greatness becomes your default biological state. Your nervous system becomes an impenetrable, solid fortress. When chaos strikes your life, your heart rate remains steady. Your mind stays sharp. You become a magnetic force that naturally attracts true success. This is the exact hidden mechanism that builds titans. Your mind and your physical body are not two separate things. They are one continuous loop of flowing energy. When you elevate the energetic signature of your dominant thoughts, your physical biology must adapt to match that new high frequency. You simply cannot have a sick mind and a powerful reality. You must completely stop treating your surface symptoms. Stop trying to fix your deep exhaustion with another cup of coffee. Stop trying to fix your daily anxiety with cheap internet distractions. You must go directly to the inner source. You must heal the programming error in your subconscious mind. Once the mind is ordered, the physical body will follow your command. This is the point where most average people fail. They hear the modern science. They understand the ancient history. They nod their heads at the wisdom of the Stoics, but they refuse to put in the daily work to rewire their own brains. They want the rich results of the Creator, but they desperately want to maintain the comfortable habits of the miserable drifter. You absolutely cannot fake this internal process. The universe reads your true frequency at all times. Your body reveals your true level of mental discipline. If you truly want the iron endurance of an emperor, you must adopt the unyielding mental focus of an emperor. You must stop waiting for a lucky miracle and start using the scientific instruments of your mind. Listen closely to me now. You now possess the irrefutable evidence. You know exactly why you have been struggling for years. You know the hidden law that governs your nervous system. The drifter will ignore this truth and walk away, but the master will use it. In the next phase, we will tear down your old habits and install the daily ritual that guarantees this transformation. Now we are getting close to the thing you can actually do. The theory is completely meaningless without relentless execution. You cannot just listen to these universal laws and expect your life to magically change. You must put the theory into brutal daily action, because the true architect of destiny never waits around for a sudden miracle to save him. And I am about to give you the exact protocol. The drifter will listen to this and do nothing at all. He will say he is too tired. He will claim he has no extra time. But the Creator equips himself with every available advantage to secure his empire, while the rest of the world sleeps in absolute ignorance. He forces his chaotic schedule to obey his absolute commands. You must establish strict order today. We start this transformation with the Sacred Night ritual. Your subconscious is a tireless contractor that works all night long. Whatever you give it before you fall asleep is exactly what it builds. If you go to bed constantly worrying about your mounting debts, you are simply commanding your mind to construct more poverty and deep emotional pain. This toxic cycle must end tonight. You must take back total control of your final waking moments. 15 minutes before you close your eyes, you must disconnect from the world completely. Turn off your screens. Do not check your messages or watch the news, because other people simply do not have the right to invade your sacred mental fortress. This is your mandatory time for cosmic housekeeping. You must sit in complete silence and observe your internal state. You will notice random fears trying to rise up in the dark. You must look at them with cold calmness and reject them immediately. You are the strict mental gatekeeper, and you must absolutely deny these toxic fears any entry into your clean mind. Once the mind is completely empty, you must plant the new seed. You must have one definite chief aim. It cannot be a vague wish for more money or a better job. It must be a clear and specific target that sets your deeply exhausted soul on fire and demands your ultimate attention. Write it down on a physical piece of paper and hold it in your hands. Read your definite purpose aloud to the empty room. Your voice has immense physical power. When you speak your aim aloud, you are sending actual vibrations through your nervous system. Say this aloud every single night without fail, declaring that you are the sovereign architect of your destiny and the ultimate master of your own physical fate. Repeat it until your physical body believes it. Say to yourself that you are the sovereign commander of your reality. This deliberate repetition is exactly how you heal your broken heart. The heart is not just an organ that pumps your blood. It is the emotional center that generates your magnetic force, and it desperately needs to be reprogrammed with total, absolute certainty. When you flood your heart with this unshakable confidence, you repair the damage. You fix the physical ruin caused by years of intense, chronic stress. You physically rebuild your own chest from the inside out. You drift off to sleep as a powerful king, and your subconscious spends the next 8 hours building your massive empire in the dark. When you wake up the next morning, the heavy work continues. You must practice the STOIC law of acting as if you might wake up with an empty bank account. You might have severe problems waiting for you at the office, but you cannot let your physical posture reflect your temporary struggles for a single second, because the Creator always projects absolute victory. Stand up straight and push your chest forward. Your physical body sends constant signals back to your brain. If you slump your shoulders and look at the floor, your brain produces instant fear. But if you walk with your head held high, you literally command your nervous system to produce ultimate victory and unshakable confidence. Walk into the chaotic world as if you have already won the final battle. Throughout your day, the world will constantly try to test you. People will insult you. Unexpected problems will arise and try to break your iron focus. The drifter reacts to these tests with immediate blinding anger, but the creator simply observes the chaos and remains completely untouched by the noise. You must also practice strict cosmic elimination. Cut the toxic ties without any guilt or hesitation. This might mean you have to walk completely alone for a while. The Creator is never afraid of heavy solitude, because solitude is the quiet, sacred place where the architect designs his massive future far away from the loud masses. You must protect your vital energy with ruthless aggression. Your energy is the literal currency that buys your new reality. Stop waiting for someone to come and motivate you today. Motivation is a cheap, useless emotion that completely disappears the very moment the actual heavy work finally gets hard and tests your resolve. You must act entirely independent of your temporary feelings. If you feel tired, you execute the daily plan anyway. If you feel scared, you move forward and crush the fear with massive, unstoppable action. You do not negotiate with your own weakness, because the sovereign commander gives firm orders and expects immediate, absolute compliance. Do not just listen to my words and passively nod your head. Get a pen right now and write down your definite chief aim. Formulate the exact, clear vision of the life you demand to live. Make the absolute iron decision that you will no longer tolerate average results, and you will fiercely demand greatness from yourself every single day. You are rewriting your base source code in this exact moment. This is the daily ritual that builds invincible men. It requires zero money and absolutely zero special equipment. It only requires your relentless and brutal daily discipline to execute the plan, while the weak average man will abandon this practice after just 2 miserable days. But you are not the average man anymore. You will perform this cosmic housekeeping every single night. You will protect your mind fiercely every single day. You will execute this exact protocol until the entire universe has no choice but to bend to your iron will and deliver your massive, unshakable success. Now comes the turning point. You have heard the ancient laws. You finally understand the exact mechanism of your own mind. The time for endless theory is officially over. And the time for brutal execution has arrived today, because you can no longer hide behind your old convenient excuses. You are standing at the edge of a massive cliff right now. The drifter loves to consume endless knowledge without taking any action. He reads the heavy books. He listens to the loud videos. But his life remains a miserable tragedy because he refuses to make the final cut and destroy his old comfortable habits. I am commanding you to be completely different today. Look deeply at the man you were yesterday. Look at his endless complaints and his hidden fears. Look at how easily he surrendered his vast power to the chaotic world while he blamed everyone else for his own pain. That man is weak. That man is exhausted. And you must ruthlessly kill the drifter inside your head tonight. You cannot carry your old broken identity into your new massive empire. The sovereign commander does not tolerate traitors in his own camp. Your past failures do not define your current power. They were simply harsh lessons designed to forge your iron will, because the universe was testing your absolute resolve, and you survived the brutal fire. You did not click this lesson by accident. You came here as a man deeply exhausted by the drift and tired of playing the helpless victim to external circumstances. But today you have remembered exactly who you are. You are the mental gatekeeper of your massive thoughts. You are the unstoppable force of your own reality. From this night forward, you act entirely independent of cheap motivation. You are a relentless builder in the invisible season. You do not beg for respect. You command it through your silent and undeniable daily actions. The world is waiting for a disciplined thinker who has chosen to rise far above the loud mental noise and claim his rightful throne. That man is inside of you, and it is time to wake him up right now. You must say to yourself that the old chapter is completely over. Say no more to the small thinking. Say no more to the pathetic victim mentality. Say no more to letting invisible fear write the daily script of your life, because that pathetic, weak version of you is gone forever. You are exactly one decision away from unstoppable momentum. You are one belief away from total clarity. You are one mental shift away from a completely new life, but that massive shift will never happen unless you aggressively force it into physical existence. The universe does not respond to weak men who constantly beg for a miracle. It responds to powerful kings who command. There is absolutely no neutral thought in your head today. Every single thought is either pushing you forward or pulling you back into the dark abyss. It is either moving you toward total freedom or reinforcing your heavy bondage. And the man who finally realizes this stark truth treats his daily thoughts as lethal weapons instead of treating them like harmless toys. Stand up right now. Claim your empty throne. You are the supreme architect of your reality, and the chaotic world has absolutely no choice but to bend to your disciplined mind. Never again let a negative thought decide your ultimate future. You must fiercely protect your vital energy from the toxic vampires who constantly seek to drain your ambition. You must build an inner citadel so strong that no economic crash can even scratch the walls. You must forge a cold calmness so deep that no insult can disturb your peaceful waters. This is the supreme path of the 1%. They walk boldly through the fierce fire, and they emerge as pure, unbreakable steel, ready to completely conquer whatever stands in their way. So, what will your ultimate legacy be? Will you be remembered as the weak man who allowed his temporary doubts to define his entire life? Or will you be remembered as the legendary Titan who looked fear directly in the face and said, "Not today," because you finally realized your own immense power? The time for drifting is officially over. Make a choice. Tonight, as you close your tired eyes, you must make the final cut. Will you return to the loud chaos of the desperate masses tomorrow? Or will you step permanently into the quiet, absolute power of the chosen few, separating yourself from the weak consumers who simply react to the noisy world? Hesitation is the sudden death of your massive destiny. A king decides his fate. If you are truly ready to command your bright destiny, you must seal your iron decision right now. Write your definite 90-day commitment in the comments below. Do not just type random empty words. Let those heavy words be the sacred contract you sign with your own blood and the vast universe, cementing your promise to never drift again. Declare your absolute dominance. State exactly what you demand from this life. Write, "I am ready" in the comments to command the vast universe. Let the physical act of typing your vow become your first massive step out of the dark drift, and let the entire world bear witness to the glorious rebirth of the sovereign commander. Your new life begins in this exact moment. Do not waste it. Share this sacred knowledge with the one person who refuses to live an average life. Build your empire alongside men who understand the heavy laws of the mind. The weak will absolutely hate this severe truth because it completely destroys their favorite excuses, but the real creators will use it to conquer the entire world. Subscribe to this channel if this supreme tradition is now yours. But hear me clearly. This heavy knowledge will not serve you if you hear it only once and let it fade into the loud noise of tomorrow. Your deep subconscious requires constant daily repetition to build a massive new world. The old corrupted script will violently try to sneak back into your mind when you are completely exhausted, and you must be ready to fight it. Therefore, I command you to listen to this lesson again and again. Return to this exact video every single night until your new reality permanently bends to your iron will, and let these universal laws wash away every single doubt you have ever held. Play it as you sleep. Play it as you work. Make these unbreakable principles the only voice you tolerate. Become completely undeniable.